Canada's Grand Railway Hotels, the Castles of Canada. G'day guys, how's it going? My name is AussieTash. This particular video was suggested to me by one of my Discord members. Shout out to Shut Up Man. This looks incredible. I've seen so many of the beautiful castles in Canada, so I'm really looking forward to seeing this video. Discord, guys, join us on Discord. You'll find the link in the description down below. We have a great time chatting. Me and Shut Up Man, the men who suggested this video, we even did a video chat one time. It's so much fun. Okay, let's get into this video. Canada's Great Railway Hotels, the Castles of Canada. Let's go. Just have a look at the view and have a look at Canada.
Canada's Grand Railway Hotels are some of the most iconic buildings in the country. Chances are, if you've been to Canada, you've seen one of these magnificent buildings. These ornate hotels were built at a time when Canada's population was less than 10 million people, and yet even today they stand as some of the most beautiful hotels in the world.
They would, man.
So what is the story behind Canada's Grand Railway Hotels? Watch this video to find out.
Okay.
The story of the beginning of Canada is the story of its railways. Canada's railways were critical in industrializing a sparsely populated nation both before and after Confederation. They enabled settlement of the West, displacing hundreds of thousands of Indigenous people in the process. Their construction was a condition that would eventually convince British Columbia to join Confederation. In many ways, Canada's railways brought out the best parts of Canada and the worst parts of Canada. Railways first emerged in Canada in the 18th century, and by the 20th century, a number of companies operated railways throughout Canada from coast to coast. Despite the large number of competitors, two railways emerged to dominate the country: the Canadian Pacific Railway, Canada's first transcontinental railway, and the Grand Trunk Railway, which at the time of Confederation was the largest railway system in the world, but suffered from significant financial challenges for most of its existence. The Grand Trunk, and many other small Canadian railways, would eventually be wrapped up through nationalization into the Canadian National Railway, CP's main competitor to this day.
I love the maple leaf. That's cool. Okay. Canada's first Grand Railway Hotel.
In 1875, in response to the expanding Canadian railway landscape, a group of Montreal businessmen decided to build a hotel to serve the elite travelers of this increasingly wealthy city at the heart of the Canadian business world. This hotel, the Windsor Hotel, opened on January 28, 1878, right next to what would become Windsor Station, and quickly became an essential part of the Montreal business and social worlds. Soon considered Montreal's premier hotel, the Windsor Hotel was host to esteemed guests from all over the world, including politicians, royalty, and celebrities from across the globe. Given its convenient location and luxurious accommodations, the Windsor Hotel served as the permanent residences for executives of both the Canadian Pacific Railway and the Grand Trunk Railway for many years. The Windsor Hotel was an undeniable success and prompted a series of hotels across the country to be constructed. The race was on to see who would be able to dominate the Canadian hotel landscape.
Okay, the Windsor Hotel. That looks similar to the Treasury Casino building that we have here in Brisbane. It's a very, very old building. I'm not sure what it was before it come the Treasury Casino, but it looks very, very similar to that. A beautiful old historic building. Oh my gosh, I'm loving where this is going. I'm guessing that every main railway has a beautiful hotel and they're all hooked up together, and you can all just jump on the one rail network and get to all these beautiful hotels on the train. So that's really, really cool. Let's keep on going. This is exciting to learn about. This is exciting history, man. Looking forward to it. The beginning of Canadian Pacific Hotels.
Given the vast geography of a country the size of Canada, many of the first hotels that the Canadian Pacific Railway would build were small hotels in the mountains of BC. These hotels were designed to function as tourist destinations, but more so to provide a location to feed passengers to avoid having to transport heavy dining cars through the mountains. These hotels were located in a number of locations, including Field, Glacier National Park, North Bend, Revelstoke, Sicamous, Kootenay Lake, and Penticton, BC, among others. These purpose-built hotels would soon become unprofitable, with technological advancements in trains that made dining cars more economical, and all were sold off or demolished. None of
Oh,
these
okay.
hotels remain standing today.
Oh, that's sad, isn't
Sensing
it?
an opportunity outside of the purpose-built stopover hotels of the past, CP's president, William Cornelius Van Horn, shifted focus towards two types of more permanent establishments: urban and rural hotels.
Hmm.
Similar to the Windsor Hotel in Montreal, the urban hotels would be located near a major passenger rail station, typically the
Doesn't that
wealthiest
make
one in the
sense?
city,
Yeah.
and would accommodate a city's elite tourists, politicians, and businessmen. The first of these new urban hotels to be constructed by CP was the Hotel Vancouver. This hotel was much simpler than the railway hotels we know today, and was not universally loved by locals, with one
No?
local newspaper suggesting the building was a monument of external ugliness. Despite this, the Hotel Vancouver would go on to be a resounding success and would inspire CP to construct many more of these urban railway hotels.
Okay, so I see what they're trying to do. You're going to be on the train for a long time. The train's going to stop in front of a beautiful big hotel, and you're going to want to stay there. You're going to want to stay in a lovely hotel, sleep on a nice bed, and have a really, really good meal. In Australia, we've got one that goes all the way up the outback. I'm not quite too sure what it's called. I probably should. Kara and Nate, they went on it. They went abroad on it. I think you're on it for like 3 days or something. I've never been on a train that has a dining cart before, but from what I've seen, they serve up some really, really good food. But yeah, anyway, not sure why I'm talking about that. Let's keep on learning about the urban and rural hotels.
Strategy behind the new type of rural hotels can be summed up by a quote from William Cornelius Van Horn. If we can't export the scenery, we'll import the tourists.
Yeah, okay.
Van Horn personally selected a location for the first of these hotels, the Banff Springs Hotel, near
Oh.
some natural hot springs in what was then a part of Canada's vast Northwest Territories. This new destination hotel will become so
That's
popular
it.
that in 1887 Van Horn would convince the federal government to create Canada's first national park, Rocky Mountains Park, now Banff National Park.
Yeah.
This
I've
would be
seen
followed
this
up
hotel.
in 1890 by the Chateau Lake Louise. While both of the original buildings burned down in the 1920s, the current renditions of these buildings are iconic Canadian buildings, with
Yeah.
the Banff Springs Hotel even being designated a National Historic Site.
Oh my gosh, so that's the
And
footage of the
speaking of
hotels.
chateaus, an important shift in the Canadian railway hotel landscape would take place with the construction of the Chateau Frontenac
Oh.
in Quebec City. Built in 1893, the Chateau Frontenac was designed to a level of luxury comparable to the highest standards of European hotels at the time. The Chateau Frontenac was constructed in the chateau-esque architectural style pioneered in the United States by wealthy families, including the Vanderbilts. This French revivalist style suited Canada's French colonial heritage perfectly, and the Chateau Frontenac would quickly become one of Canada's most iconic buildings. It would also inspire many future railway hotels to employ this style of architecture, spreading the influence of this style across the country and forever associating the chateau-esque architectural style with Canada.
Okay, so the Chateau Frontenac. I hope I've said that. I'm absolutely in love with the footage I have seen of that particular hotel. At winter time, it looks beautiful. During Christmas, it looks beautiful. I'm going to do a video reacting just to the Chateau Frontenac. Oh my gosh. I have come across so many videos of people walking through there through Christmas. It just looks incredible. Guys, please tell me your stories if you've stayed at this hotel or even if you've just walked past this beautiful hotel. Eve, I'm guessing you have. It just looks so beautiful.
CP would build several more hotels across the country in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, including a hotel for French Canadian elites in Montreal, the Place Viger in 1898, and the Empress in Victoria in 1908, in addition to a number of rural hotels. Things for CP were about to change, however, as its biggest competitor, the Grand Trunk Railway, was
Okay.
about to enter the hotel business for itself.
There you go. Oh.
Impressed by the success of Canadian Pacific hotels and unwilling to yield a new industry to its biggest competitor, the Grand Trunk Railway opened its first hotel, the Highland Inn, in 1908 in Algonquin Provincial Park, Ontario.
Oh,
A
okay.
resort hotel for tourists
Yeah.
looking for a wilderness getaway a little closer to home than the mountain hotels in BC and Alberta.
Mm-hmm.
This will be followed up with a number of hotels, including the Chateau Laurier in Ottawa, the Fort Garry Hotel in Winnipeg, the Menachie Lodge in Menachie, Ontario, and the Hotel McDonald in Edmonton. In the same time period, Canadian Pacific Hotels would build the Kootenay Lake Hotel in Balfour, BC, the Royal Alexandra Hotel in Winnipeg, the Palliser Hotel in Calgary, and a replacement for the original Hotel Vancouver, which no longer matched the quality of the prestigious Canadian Pacific Hotels brand.
Okay.
Both companies' hotels would become landmarks in their cities and the center of social life. Built in a large variety of ornate architectural styles, including Chateauesque, Edwardian, and Italian Renaissance, these hotels would bring with them a taste of European-style luxury to booming Canadian business centers like Montreal and Vancouver, but also to upstart prairie cities like Edmonton and Calgary. While competition in the hotel industry was fierce, it had nothing on competition in the railway industry, and in 1919, after financially overextending itself beyond repayment, the Grand Trunk Railway was nationalized as part of Canadian National Railway. A new era had begun in the Canadian railway industry, but if Canadian Pacific thought it was going to be able to coast along to victory in the hotel industry, it would be sorely mistaken. CN would pick up right where Grand Trunk left off.
Oh my gosh, these hotels, they look absolutely beautiful, don't they? All these beautiful railway hotels, absolutely stunning. Australia, we just don't have beautiful buildings that look like this. Our buildings, they're just all modern. They're just modernized. They don't look like this. These are beautiful architectural gems. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it so much. That one in Banff, oh my gosh, surrounded by the huge mountains, the snow. Oh my gosh, I can just imagine how expensive that place is. Guys, if you've been there, let me know. I reckon I'm going to have to save up lots and lots of loonies and toonies. But you know what? This video has actually given me an idea. I should do a Google Earth video. A Google Earth video, you know, and I can go all the way to the places that I want to see. Like, I can jump onto Google Earth, type in the Chateau Frontenac, and it would drop me right there. And I could just explore it myself. I could explore through all these hotels. Man, that is a great idea for a video suggestion. Man, I need to do that, guys. Jump on in the comments. Let me know if you'd like me to do a Google Earth video. All right, let's keep on going. Oh, they're battling
Driven
each
by
other.
A booming Canadian economy, the two rivals, Canadian Pacific Hotels and Canadian National Hotels, would produce some of Canada's last true iconic hotel buildings. The 1920s would see CP construct the Hotel Saskatchewan in Regina, the Lord Nelson in Halifax, and the Royal York in Toronto. CN would produce the Jasper Park Lodge in Jasper, Alberta, and the Hotel Newfoundland in St. John's, Newfoundland.
Oh,
which was a
Hotel
separate
Newfoundland.
dominion in the
I
British
want to
Empire
go
at the
there
time.
straight away.
But just as the construction of these Grand Railway hotels was at its peak, the Great Depression began. In the 1930s, CP would construct just one hotel, the rural resort Chateau Montebello in Montebello, Quebec.
Wow.
CN would produce more, partly because the federal government decided that this could be a good way to keep people employed during the Depression. Hotels constructed in this time period include the Nova Scotian in Halifax, Hotel Charlottetown in Charlottetown, and the Bessborough in Saskatoon.
Okay.
In 1939, the construction of a third Hotel Vancouver was completed. This hotel would be unique among railway hotels,
How
as it
many
became
now?
a joint venture between CN and CP, who agreed to close the second Hotel Vancouver, as the demand was simply not high enough in pre-World War II Vancouver to support two Grand Railway hotels.
So why did
This
they
new
build another
Hotel
one?
Vancouver would be the last of the Chateauesque Grand Railway stations.
Okay.
And with the onset of the war, hotel construction was no longer a priority for either of Canada's major railways.
Yeah, well.
The post-war period would see a fundamental shift away from passenger rail travel that
Yeah.
would bring the era of the Grand Railway Hotel to a close.
Railways. Yeah, you think about it. In Australia, honestly, I'm telling you right now, it's still probably cheaper to jump on the train. I've gone as far as Brisbane to Bundaberg on the train, and literally it was, if you've got a concession card like I had at the time, it is a cheap way to travel, but it takes like 7 hours on the train. Depending on, you know, if you can get a cheap flight, you might only pay like $23 one way, but then they get you with the return ticket. The return ticket will cost you like $160. It's absolutely crazy. So rail travel in Australia, it's a cheap alternative and you can get everywhere. The railway network in Australia, it is all hooked up. It's called the Country Link Rail and it's hooked up all around Australia. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I think the most fanciest hotel I've stayed in before, I mentioned it before, guys, is the Treasury Casino. It's an historic building. It's over 100 years old. It's absolutely beautiful. Okay, but yeah, when you think about it, after World War II, flights. Everyone's going to start flying. Rail, not as significant anymore for international tourism, but still would be, if you just want to get around Canada, jump on the train. Okay, let's keep on going. The Queen Elizabeth. Oh my gosh. How many things do we have here in Australia named after Queen Elizabeth? I don't know if we have any buildings named after King Charles yet. Not quite too sure.
The last Grand Railway Hotel, the Queen Elizabeth, was constructed by CN in 1958. This hotel was constructed in the international style of architecture, a significant departure from the previous hotels.
It looks very different,
and while
doesn't
the hotel would go on to be another successful addition to the social fabric of Montreal, it would be the final hotel designed with rail travel in mind in Canada. In the years following the construction of the Queen Elizabeth, many of the original Grand Railway hotels would be slated for closure, demolition, or significant renovation.
Wow.
This portion of the story is best illustrated by taking a look at one hotel in detail. So let's dive deeper into the history of the Hotel Macdonald in Edmonton.
That's beautiful. In Edmonton, okay.
Once the center of Edmonton's social world, the Hotel Macdonald hosted esteemed guests, including King George VI on his royal tour before the war. In the 1950s, an oil boom would fuel growth in the city and a major expansion was added to the Hotel Macdonald, totally out of keeping with the ornate style of the original hotel. Locals referred to the hotel and its addition unflatteringly as the Mac and the box it came in.
Yeah,
By 1983,
it looks different,
the Hotel
doesn't it?
Macdonald, which was costly to maintain, had fallen out of fashion, and CN made the decision to close the hotel and demolish the box edition.
Yeah.
The original building was slated for demolition as well, but the city
Really?
of Edmonton stepped in and designated the hotel a municipal heritage resource. The hotel sat vacant until it was purchased by CP in 1988, and after extensive renovations, it was reopened by CP in 1991.
Okay.
Today, the hotel is one of the most beautiful and recognizable buildings in the city of Edmonton. While this story is specific to the
wow.
Hotel Macdonald, similar fights were taking place all across the country to keep these buildings alive and continue to a degree to this day.
See what he's doing? He's jumped onto Google Earth. He's put in the name of that hotel and it's got him straight there. That's what I'm talking about doing. That's what I'm thinking about doing. A Google Earth Canada reaction video. So what I'm thinking is I might create a post and you guys put in the suggestions what places you want me to Google Earth in Canada and we'll do it. It could be really, really cool. I might see some places in Canada that I've never seen before. Guys, in the suggestions, keep it clean, okay? I'm loving this video. This is really cool. But yeah, they are right. The box bit, it just looked different, didn't it? It just looks so out of place, so out of touch with the original building.
Both CP hotels and CN hotels would continue to compete with each other for decades until 1988, when CN Hotels was purchased by CP Hotels,
Oh, okay.
thus ending the competition
Yeah.
for supremacy over Canada's Grand Railway hotels.
That'll do it.
CP Hotels continued to expand and purchased the Fairmont Hotels chain from its American owners in the 90s, and by 2001, all former Canadian Pacific hotels were rebranded as Fairmont Hotels, which were spun off into their own separate company with no ties to CP Rail.
Okay.
And with that, Canada's railways were out of the hotel business, and an era had come to an end.
Oh, so beautiful, Batman. My gosh.
Today, Canada's Grand Railway hotels are some of Canada's most treasured historic buildings, and a part of its cultural heritage. Most, if not all, of these hotels now have some level of historic designation, ensuring their survival for years to come. In downtowns all across the country, these buildings stand out as some of the most beautiful and iconic buildings.
So beautiful,
From Quebec
man.
City to Saskatoon, Lake Louise to Vancouver, these buildings are hard to miss, and are hard not to love. Thanks for watching. Would you like to stay in one of Canada's Grand Railway hotels?
Yes.
Maybe you already have. Let us know in the comments below.
Mate, I'd love to stay in all those hotels. They just look so beautiful. I love the history around it. So you've got two Canadian railway networks going at it, building hotels for travelers and tourists and stuff like that. Eventually, one buys out the other, and now you've got these four beautiful hotels that sound like they are still owned by Canadians in Canada, and that's really, really cool. Trust me, man, 99% of Queensland is owned by Japan or China. That's just how it goes now. All right, that was a really cool video, guys. Like I said, the suggestions, all your suggestions are welcome. Join us on Discord, throw your suggestions on there, and we'll get through them all. That was the video for today. If you liked it, please jump on, smash the like button, leave a comment, and of course, remember to subscribe. That would really help me out. Share your stories of these beautiful hotels. If you've been there, if you've walked past these hotels, I'd love to hear them. Cheers from down under. Take care. Bye.